All right, we should be live now. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Leave a message in the chat. Let me know, is the audio good? Is the game volume good? Is my voice volume good? This is my first time trying this out. So welcome. All right, looks like we got our first message. Hey James, how's the audio? How's everything working for you? All right, good to hear. So today is actually my first Zwift ride in over a year now. I've been off Zwift for the last year since I've been bike commuting every day, so this is pretty exciting. And I'm really happy to finally get a setup that's working. It took me a while to figure this out, but it looks like everything's working. Anyway, let's get on the bike and start riding. Here we go. And I just sort of logged into the course a little bit ago to make sure everything's working. Looks like we're going up a big climb right now. So I've been out of the Zwift loop for a while now. There's a lot I've been missing out on, but excited to jump back on the Zwift bandwagon now that we're all stuck indoors, and it seems to be the thing that a lot of people are doing right now. So I'm thinking to do a couple more videos like this, maybe some live streams while I ride, and kill two birds with one stone. So if you guys like these kinds of videos, and if this works out pretty good, if the internet connection and everything works out okay, maybe we'll make this a regular series. I'm not going to ride too hard. I'm not going to ride too hard today because I don't have my fan or anything set up yet. But so this is just going to be a leisurely ride and just a quick test to make sure that this is all working okay. But if you guys have any questions or topics you'd like me to talk about while I'm riding, feel free to write down in the comments and I'll try and get to it if I can. Zwift is free right now. I haven't heard that, but maybe that might be true. I wouldn't doubt it right now. But when I had an old account and I went to renew it, and it told me I would get a 7-day free trial. So maybe everyone gets a free trial now, but I'm not sure if it's completely free or maybe it's free for a certain amount of time. But my first 7 days should be free, so that's nice. Otherwise, it's about $15 a month. What meals to eat before a race? I generally wouldn't eat much within 2 to 3 hours before the race. I would have my last sort of solid meal before then. And maybe about an hour before the race, I'd eat like a light peanut butter, banana kind of sandwich kind of thing. So nothing too heavy. Quick energy. And the next question, what do you prefer for commuting, mountain bike or road bike? This depends on the path, of course. If I'm going over mountains and it's a pretty long distance, I'm sure I'd prefer the road bike. But if I'm going over some rough roads, or if I have some different options along the way, I'd prefer the mountain bike. Morning, John. It's afternoon here in Japan. It's about 4:30 right now. Tuo Cruise avatar on Zwift. That'd be pretty cool. Is that sort of stuff is that possible now? I see they have some stuff like that for like the pro teams and stuff, but is it possible to get your own avatar? Maybe you have to pay some money or something? Doko ni sundemasu ka? We got our first Japanese question. 今はまだ長久手に住んでます. So we're still living in Nagakute in Nagoya, Japan. We announced on the channel that we'll be moving to Vietnam in the near future, but Vietnam's on lockdown and Japan's on lockdown now, so we're sort of stuck here for a while. And good thing, I've got my spin bike here and got my Zwift setup working again, so this should be a good way to help pass the time until we are able to move, but we'll still be here for the unforeseeable future until things sort of calm down a little bit around the world. (2:30 in Illinois. Are you guys Eastern time or Central time? But yeah, this is not good timing for the audience in the US, unfortunately. The next time I do these live streams, if I'm doing this, I literally spent all day getting this setup working and filming some other videos, and I finally got to the point where I could film this right now, so that's why I'm a little bit late right now. But the next time I do a live stream, I'll do it a little bit earlier so we can hopefully get some of the US based people over here as well. Maybe we'll do some different times as well, so that way people from different parts of the world can join in. How fluent are you in Vietnamese? By Sevoon. Not at all. I only know some basic introductions and drinking words. But I plan to start studying pretty seriously pretty soon. All right, 8:30 a.m. in the UK, so that's good timing there. That's the tough thing with this channel, or the cool thing with this channel is there's a lot of people from around the world, and there's no one set audience group. The largest is the US, but there's people spread out all over the world. A lot of people in Europe, a lot of people in Asia, and a lot of people in the US, so it's hard to find a time that works for everyone. It's starting to get hot in here. Next time I do this setup, I'm going to have to get a fan for sure. No fan today, so I'm going to calm it down a little bit. I've got the power meter attached though, so you guys can see exactly how hard I'm going. Am I a JLPT N1? No, I've only taken the JLPT once. I took the N2 about 3 years ago now, and I passed. I never took the N1. But I probably can pass it if I were to take it, but I never had a need to take it because I was able to speak Japanese and pass the interviews, so it's not always a requirement. If you can speak well enough to pass the interviews, they generally don't really care whether you have N1 or N2, but sometimes it's important to have that to get yourself through the door if it's a new place that you don't have any contacts with. For anyone who doesn't know, the JLPT is the Japanese language proficiency test, and they're ranked from N1 to N5. N1 is the highest level, and N5 is the more beginner level. And usually to get a decent job in Japan, you need to have at least N3. Most places will require N2 though. And hey Shane, yeah, I've definitely heard of the Little 500. I've always wanted to see it. Unfortunately, never had the opportunity. I used to race in the Midwest Collegiate Conference, actually. So I've raced against IU a bunch of times. I've been to Fort Wayne a bunch of times as well. And is that real people riding on the app? Yes, this is, for people who don't know, I guess there are some people who don't know, but this is Zwift. So this is an online application that you can log into and ride with people from around the world. So all the people in here are real, more or less. There might be some sort of like altered or fake-ish kind of accounts, but 90% of the people on here are real. And yeah, it's a pretty cool application, so you can ride with your friends from all around the world. And I'll be doing a couple more videos about this in the near future. Most people are, you have to connect with, you can use either a speed sensor or a power meter. The power meter is more accurate, and that's what I'm using today. How did I get my role with Canyon? I never worked with Canyon. I worked, a lot of people get this confused, but I didn't work directly for BMC. I worked for the distributor in Japan, so the Japanese distribution company for BMC in Japan. So I didn't work for the bicycle company directly. Are you planning to change your flag from Japan to Vietnam? The flag, I'm guessing you mean the flag on our jersey. We have a flag on the back of the jersey, which you can't see right now because I'm riding. That's something we're considering, or we're actually considering maybe just getting rid of the flag, so that way it's more open to anyone who wants to ride the jersey. So we're not sure. We might add a US flag, a Vietnamese flag, and a Japanese flag, all three, or we might just remove them all. We're still working out the design for the next jersey since we'll be moving soon. Next question from Rogue Code. How much do you squat? I used to be able to squat a lot, but I haven't been working out lately, so I don't think right now I can squat that much. And next from Giovan. I want to know, is there a good mountain bike trail in Vietnam? From what I hear, yeah, there's quite a decent amount of mountain biking there, and I've been joining some Facebook groups, some cycling groups in Vietnam lately, and looking at some of their posts, and it looks like there's a decent amount of stuff, which I'm really excited about, because there's not that many great trails in Japan, honestly. Thanks, John, for buying the coffee mug. I'm thinking to add a section in the channel somehow where we can start adding some pictures of fans who've bought some Two Wheel Cruise stuff. So people who've bought like the Two Wheel Cruise shirts, the mugs, the jerseys and stuff. So that way you can share your photos with the gear that you guys got, and we can share it back with the audience. So yeah, anyone else who's sent photos or who's bought those products, be sure to send me some of those photos, maybe on Facebook Messenger or Instagram or something, and let me know if it's okay to post those in a future video, and I'll try and feature those pretty soon. Next from Jeremy Lin, can we get an all-out 30-second effort? Maybe at the end of the video. I don't want to do that right now and then not be able to talk and be sweaty for the rest of the ride. Yeah. Sorry, James. Unfortunately. Well, the good thing, you can find trainers pretty cheap. We actually sold 2 of our trainers just last month, unfortunately, before things started getting bad. So, unfortunately, we only have the one right now. So, Chuang and I can't ride together. We have to share the spin bike. That was some pretty bad timing, but you can find some used trainers online pretty cheap. Usually about $50 for a decent one, but maybe there's less demand right now, or there's more demand right now, so less supply. And next question. What is the plus side of living in Japan that is non-existent in the USA? There's a lot. I'm actually thinking to make a video dedicated to this pretty soon. One of the biggest things, though, is I would say everything is connected by public transportation. So no matter where you are, you can easily get to where you need to go. But for example, if I fly into the US, I have really no good way of getting to my home. I have to have someone pick me up or pay a ridiculous amount for a taxi. But in Japan, everything is connected by buses and trains. So I would say the transportation network that covers the whole country is one of the biggest advantages in Japan compared to the US. There's a lot more, of course, so we'll save that for another video. And Ronnie, are you still warming up? Yes, this entire ride today will just be a warm-up. This is not a serious ride. This is literally my first time riding this bike in a couple months, and I haven't been doing much training lately, so pretty soon though, maybe we'll do some workouts on here, and I'll do some more serious efforts, and you guys can see me struggle. Salty Stephen, do you do any exercise besides cycling? Unfortunately, not so much lately, but that's something we're intending to change. We bought some tennis rackets, and I'm going to try and introduce my wife to tennis. And we do a little bit of walking, actually. We do some walking together, some cross training with running. But I'd like to definitely branch out and do some other things. But right now it's a little bit scary going outside. So we're trying to limit how much we do that right now. And that's a good idea about the community tab, so sharing the To a Cruise fan pictures on there. Yeah, I'll probably do that once I get a collage of some of the other photos. I haven't really requested those from people yet, but it's definitely a good idea. Do I want to get a full suspension in the near future? No. Unless I'm riding dedicated downhill trails pretty regularly, I don't feel I have any need for a full suspension bike. I'd much rather have a hardtail. And the next question from Mike, is the weather in the game based on what it's like locally? I'm not sure, honestly. The world that I'm in right now is actually a virtual world, so this one doesn't exist, but other courses are based on actual real places, and I'm not sure if they're actually based on the real weather. If anyone knows, let me know down in the comments here. The next question from Damien. Have you ever ridden up Mount Fuji? No, I've driven there for work. I worked the Mount Fuji hill climb race last year, so we drove there for work, but unfortunately I didn't have a chance to ride it. But it's actually not one of the most tough climbs in Japan. It's actually not that bad from what I hear compared to some other places. The Norikura climb is much, much worse. And higher, actually. So the bike shops are out of trainers in Bulgaria. Yeah, that makes sense. I figured the demand must be pretty high and low on supply right now. Next question. Altamira. Do you miss living in the USA? Yeah, there's some things I definitely miss. Of course, being close to my family. Some things in my hometown. Some old shops and restaurants I used to go to. I miss American-style pizza, especially Detroit-style pizza. And cider mills. Some apple cider and donuts in the fall. Those kinds of things. There's lots of things I miss in the US. The next question from Vishnu. Has there been a two-wheel cruise event for us to ride with you? We haven't made any public events like this yet, either paid or free. And the reason for that is partly because most of our fans are unfortunately just scattered all over the world. So it'd be hard to really pick a location and organize that, but that is something we're definitely going to consider as we do some more traveling in the near future. As we travel across Vietnam and go to some other countries to visit, we'll definitely try and organize some just regular group rides with some of the locals there. Hey Shane, that's cool, thanks. And enjoy the ice cream. I'm jealous, definitely. And from Kushal, what is your FTP? When I was training pretty seriously last year, my FTP was above 300, about 350. Right now, I would say it's much lower because I haven't been doing any training or any real intervals lately, but so I have no idea right now, but maybe we'll do a test with that pretty soon on the channel. So that'd be a cool event. We could do a live FTP test. I wouldn't be able to talk, but you guys can see my full suffering. From home countries, how tall are you and what size frame do you usually ride? I am 6'1", 183 centimeters, and I normally ride either a size large frame for a mountain bike or 56 or 58 for road. And from Kushal, what zone are you trying to stay in terms of heart rate for this ride? No plans. I'm just winging it and rolling along. This is actually my first time with using the power meter in a while, using the heart rate in a long time, so starting to get used to this stuff, and I'm just trying to focus on a nice casual pace that I can ride and read these questions at the same time. Next from Chronic Fish. I'm new to biking. How much would an average descent trainer cost? I'm not familiar with their trainers, but if you're looking for a standard fluid trainer, I would recommend just getting something used. The fluid trainers generally last a long time, so even a used one will work really good. You can get them really cheap. If you're looking for a power-based trainer, they get quite a bit more expensive, and I'd be a bit more hesitant buying those used. From Ruben, what would be my dream bike setup? I think I mentioned this in my video where I talked about what is the best commuting bike. And I think my ideal bike would be a single speed gravel bike, belt drive with internal hub sort of setup. Something with some nice wide clearance, so this would be a nice sort of one for all kind of bike. and simple kind of setup. From James, do you watch Yowamushi pedal? Heck yeah! Can't wait for the next season. From Where's My Slipper? Slipper! Sweet, we're live. Yeah, we just figured out this live setup, so pretty excited. And hopefully going to be doing this every week or so. And what sort of remote freelance work do I do? I do mostly front-end web development, WordPress kind of sites. So there's a lot of demand for that, but also a lot of people doing it, so it is a competitive market to get into. Isaac, not a Mama Cherry. Actually, I don't know if they have any Mama Cherry bikes on here. I'll have to check out some of the new setting options on here if there's any other options for different bicycles now. Like I said earlier in the stream, I haven't been on Zwift now in about a year, so there might be some newer bikes or silly bike options on here available now. From Jay, what style bike would you recommend commuting to college and back within the limits of a broke college student? I would definitely recommend a single speed, maybe an old steel single speed. It depends on where you go to college, actually. So if you go to college in Japan or a safer country, you don't have to worry about theft. But if you go to school in the US, most college areas have a really bad bicycle theft problem, and not just the US, but other countries as well. So I find that for a commuting bike, it's also important to focus not only on durability, but as well making it not so appealing to thieves. So something that looks a little bit run down, and single speed is going to have less problems. Any plans to create a Zwift ride with the fans? Yeah, probably. I have to figure out how to organize something like that, but that could be something we could do. And aren't single speeds bad for your knees if you ride uphill? Yeah, single speeds can be a little bit bad if you're running on hills a lot and a lot of pressure on your knees, but it all depends on gear selection. If you have the right gear, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you are riding in a really hilly area, that's another thing you have to consider. Been saving up some money for a full carbon bike. What would you recommend? I broke my aluminum one when I crashed. If you are able to break an aluminum bike, you will probably break a carbon bike much more quicker. So I would suggest either getting another aluminum bike or going with something even stronger, maybe a steel bike or something. FTP test on a Mama Cherry. No, thank you. The toughest things with Mama Cherries, though, is the position. It's really hard to get a saddle that's tall enough. And from Ghost Rider, what do you recommend for long rides, body fuel? For me, this option may not be available depending on where you live, but I really love anpan. It's a Japanese food, so it's a bread with the red bean inside. It's really good because it gives you carbs, it gives you some sugar, it gives you some protein, so it's a nice balance. Um, Outside of Japan, I really liked peanut butter banana, peanut butter honey kind of sandwiches. And yeah, really solid food. From Eric, what trainer are you using? I'm not on a trainer, I'm on a spin bike. Check out my video on using a spin bike in Zwift. I talk about my full setup there, so you can check that out. So it's a pretty unique setup. And for your question, where's my slipper? There's a lot of measurement guides online, so I'm sure you can search for that and measure her yourself, or she can measure herself. And I usually have no problems ordering online, but generally, if you have to choose between a larger size and a smaller size, I would suggest going with the smaller size. You can always make a bike bigger, but you can't make a bike smaller, so it's an important lesson I learned. How long did it take for me to become a web developer? And are you able to find substantial hours despite competition? I've actually been a web developer for a long time. I started actually I'm self-taught in middle school, so I've been doing it for a really long time. I just was really interested in making websites. I wanted to make my own websites. I thought it was really cool. I saw some different websites that I liked and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to make my own. And so I don't know how I can answer how long it took me to become a web developer, because it's kind of been something I've been doing my whole life, just because I started at a young age, so I can't really answer that. And thanks, Mickey. Yeah, we love this jersey. It's a classic. And thanks for visiting, John. Have a good evening. What up, Jasmine? Jasmine's my bro. He also lives in the Nagoya area. So Jasmine's question, what app or setup are you using to overlap the camera with the Zwift interface? That's actually something I learned last night by watching I've been watching a lot of different videos. Some people have made some tutorials on how to do this, and one of them was this is the OBS application. So there's two different OBS applications. There's the regular OBS and then there's the Streamlabs OBS, but apparently you can use either of them. So I'm using the regular OBS, and there's some other good tutorials if you search on YouTube about how to set it up with Zwift. And that's what I did last night, and I've been experimenting all day today and finally got it to work. So yeah, it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. And thanks, Sven's Milk. And I'm not sure, what is that event in 2023? The Paris event, I'm not sure what that is. So Ghost Rider's question, I've been reading for a while, but still practicing riding off saddle since I'm using a spin bike now. It's a lot easier riding off saddle. Don't know how it feels on a normal bike. Yeah, one of the tough things about riding indoors, not just a spin bike, but regular trainers, is you have to sit down the entire time. When you're riding outdoors, you get a lot of different changes in your body. So you go uphill, you go downhill, you move your body around, and it's not so natural to do that here on an indoor setup, even if you're doing Zwift. But some of the more advanced technologies, like what are those boards that you can put your trainer on, will allow you to move your bike, or there's also the elevation changers for the front of your wheel. Those accessories are really expensive, but it's also at the same time really good to develop your sitting down power. And if you actually do that riding indoors for a long time, you can become a lot stronger when you go back to ride outside. So in-saddle power is really good skills, really good thing to practice. Yeah, get on your trainer, Chris. It's time to ride. What type of Japanese media do I regularly consume? Me and my wife, Chung-chan, we change on this a lot. So sometimes we watch anime, sometimes we watch different dramas. But yeah, it's a nice variety. There's a lot of good shows in Japanese. Lately, we've been watching a Japanese show called Kino Nani o Tabeta. So it's What Did You Eat Yesterday? We're also, for anime, right now watching the latest season of Haikyuu, and Tuan-chan hates waiting for the new episodes every week. She much rather prefers to watch something that has all the episodes out and ready, so we can just watch it continually without having to wait for the next episodes. All right, good luck with your setup, Jasmine. Yeah, I've heard there's a lot of people really like Streamlabs OBS, but I've also heard good things about the regular OBS, which gives you a little bit, it's a bit easier, I think, if you're used to programming, and gives a bit more customization, but Streamlabs definitely seems to be the smoother route to go and easier to use. Starting to get hot in here. Ah, hey Tomoko. Tomoko is also a local YouTuber in the Nagoya area. Yeah, and Jasmine's also a pretty cool person to follow. He does a lot of the fixed gear racing here in Japan and does some cool stuff with that. And Tomoko, if you're still watching, we gotta make a video together soon, so message me after the video. Yeah, if you want to give it a try, Tomoko, you can come on over. We can get you on the setup. forgot that I should be getting rid of these items just in case you can get some bonuses when you go in the checkpoints. Man, there's a lot of people out on the course today. This is crazy. Good luck, Jasmine, with the rollers. I tried with the rollers before, but I couldn't get enough of resistance, but I guess if you have some good rollers that give you enough resistance, it should work. And Tomoko, we can do either. Let's talk later. I've got some ideas. I'll send you a message. We can do both, I guess. And no way, you got the same spin bike? Check out my video. I talked about how to set it up. You basically need to get some power meters on there. So you can put a power meter on the crank, or you can get a pedal-based power meter. I'll be making another video about that pretty soon, so check it out. But you need a power meter is the best way to get the spin bike on Zwift. Sprint time. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty warmed up now. Maybe we'll ramp up the speed a little bit. What's the temperature in here? It's hot. I don't have a fan. That's one thing I forgot to set up today. So, it's getting pretty warm in here. Alright, sounds good, Tomoko. Alright, we've been cruising at about 150 watts lately. Let's bump this up a little bit. There we go. Right about 230. Let's see how long we can stay there. Hey Nico. And for Kushal, what power pedals do you recommend? I use the Favero Asioma pedals. I'll be making a new video about them pretty soon, so I'll be on the lookout for that. Probably upload it next week. Where's Toongchan? She's out walking right now. She's filming a walking video for her new walking channel. But maybe, I'm not sure when she'll be back, but maybe if she gets back soon enough, she can make it for somewhere at the end of the stream. It's definitely getting harder to talk now that I'm putting out the higher watts now. Heart rate is up, 160. We're climbing. What time is it here? It's 5:07 right now, 5:07 p.m. What's my max heart rate? That's a good question. In the past, when I was younger, it was easily over 200. When I was racing pretty seriously in Japan the last few years, It was about 193, 195, but I haven't tested it mostly in the last year, so I would say right now about 185, 190-ish maybe. Time to surpass your limits. Yeah, come back. Maybe we'll be doing some pretty serious rides here on Zwift pretty soon. Not today though, today's just the first day back. Maybe sing. Yeah, I'll stick with that in private for now anyway. It's no good just singing by myself. It's a lot easier when Tunchan's around. Definitely using this towel a lot more now. I'm not forgetting the fan next time. And next question from Nikel. Do you know how long you'll be stuck in Japan? Honestly, no. Things are getting really uncertain right now, but we expect we'll be here for at least 2 more months, and probably longer, depending on how the situation develops. Have you seen Kuroko no Basket? No, I've heard good things, but haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Lots of questions, or lots of requests for the Hime Hime song. We gotta save that for a special occasion though. It's not something you can just bust out so casually. All right, let's pump up the wattage a little bit more. This is going to be a bit of a crescendo ride. Let's get up into 300 territory. And I'm thinking a ride at least on the stream here for about an hour today, so let's try and hold 300 watts for a while. Let's see if I can still do this. This course, a beautiful course. Yeah, if we leave Japan, we wouldn't be able to get back in right now, so definitely traveling out of the question right now. Oh man. I can't answer that question right now. For people who don't know, watts is the amount of energy that you're putting out, so basically it means like resistance level, and it's pretty high right now. All right, let's tone this down. This is getting too difficult to talk. The fan is going at the top of the checklist for the next live stream for sure. Which indoor trainer do you think is the best? Honestly, I think an indoor bike is the way to go over a trainer. If money is not a factor, I would definitely go with one of the advanced high-tech indoor bikes. Maybe like the Wahoo one. Those give you the best experience, the most realistic experience, and they don't wear like your drive chain as much as like a normal traditional trainer setup would. So yeah, if money was not an option, I definitely go with the bike setup. And that's kind of what I'm doing now with the spin bike, but the spin bikes are really cheap. Drink some water, yes. Yeah, heat exhaustion is definitely a risk. I'm going to tone it down from now just to be safe, but next time I'll be more prepared. I'll have the fan, but it's always going to get hot indoors when you have everything shut. Even in the winter, it can get really hot riding Zwift indoors or just riding any indoor setup, but usually means a lot of sweat. But yeah, always make sure you drink a lot during the ride and after the ride as well. Am I a gamer? Or casually play video games? No, not anymore. When I was younger, I played a lot of games. A lot of Smash Bros, but haven't been playing many games lately. Just not enough time and too much to do. How to improve power? I can only keep around 120 watts. Usually you gotta train smart, do intervals, ride more, ride smarter, make sure you're recovering properly. But basically, yeah, the more you ride, the stronger you get. But you got to be smart. You can't ride too much. You'll burn yourself out. Yeah, this wasn't the most well thought out plan, but I was excited to see that the live stream setup is working and just kept rolling with it. But next time, the fan will be on for sure. But I haven't been riding so much lately, honestly, so this is a good way to sweat off all of the bad stuff I've been eating lately. I'm gonna end the stream in about, I think, 5 more minutes. So my plan was just to ride and stream for about an hour. So if you've been lingering around and still have some questions you haven't asked, feel free to add them in the chat while I'm still here. Ooh. Do I maintain a certain diet. When I was training more seriously, definitely. Not so much lately because my wife really enjoys eating what she wants to eat. But for me, with a more athletic background, I'm more focused on eating foods that are more healthy. So it's a tough balance between what we both want. But lately, we haven't been so strict with that. And that is something I want to try and get a little bit better at moving forward. I have a really bad sweet tooth and can't help myself if there's some delicious sweets in front of me. So definitely need to make some improvements for diet. And thanks, Jasmine. We'll have to ride together on Zwift soon. Let me know if you get your setup working. What is going to be my primary source of income when we move to Vietnam? I already mentioned this in one of the last videos, but it's not going to be a primary source of income, but it's going to be more of a balance. So some income from YouTube, some income from blogging. I run a couple different website projects, and I also do some freelance. So the goal is to have a couple different income streams and balance it between them all. So that way, if one goes down, we still have the others. So maybe a bit of teaching as well. And just, yeah, a nice little balance of doing a bunch of different things, trying it out, see what happens, and eventually working on building our cycling tourism business. For StarCraft, thoughts on veganism or plant-based diet to improve performance/recovery. I think there's a lot of research to support this lately, and if you can do it, if it's within reason, depending on where you live, you have those options nearby you, and it doesn't interfere with your life too much, I'd say, yeah, go for it. I think there's a lot of advantages, but there's also a lot of people who can't make that transition. My wife is definitely one of those people. She'd much rather eat what she wants, even though it's unhealthy, than have to give up eating what she wants. All right, just a few more questions. I'm gonna have to end this. I'm reaching my limit for today. When I was racing, where I was on some team, yeah, I've been on a lot of teams in the past, some high-level teams as well, but I'm not going to go into too much detail in that right now. 1 hour FTP test next time, maybe, but if we do that video, I'm definitely not talking except for in the warm-up, but maybe we'll make that a thing. As for the next live, I need to work on a schedule for this. I haven't decided the next time, but I'll try and post it in the community and also on our Facebook page a little bit earlier, so I'll give some announcement before the next one for sure. So if you haven't already, check out our Facebook page, or also be sure that you're subscribed with notifications to the YouTube channel, so that way when I announce it, you guys will all know. Right now, I'm planning to upload at least 3 videos a week right now, so I've changed to a Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday schedule, those 3 days. And I might make one of those a weekly live stream day, or I might add an extra live stream day on top of that, depending on how well I can balance adding all these videos. But anyway, if you have any requests, what is the best day, what is the best time, let me know and tell me in Japanese time if you can. That'd be helpful, and I'll try and plan accordingly. Anyway, it's been an hour. That's my workout for today, and thanks for joining, guys. I'm gonna finish the stream here for today, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.